to the Vale Echo tonight. We begin with a journey that started like any other, beneath a peaceful Malaysian sunrise on the quiet tarmac of Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The world was still waking up, but inside the glowing terminals, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was already alive, engines humming, lights blinking, preparing for a voyage that would soon become one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. The Boeing 777 stood tall and immaculate, bathed in soft orange morning light as ground crews moved with practiced precision. Passengers boarded with the calm rhythm of early travel, families settling into seats, business travelers adjusting their watches, and strangers sharing polite nods before takeoff. Inside the cockpit, the pilots, experienced and composed, performed their checks, their controls illuminating the cabin in a warm, steady glow. As the aircraft began its taxi, the runway shimmered with a thin layer of dawn haze. The engines roared to life, and with a smooth surge of power, MH370 lifted into the sky. For a moment, it was poetry in motion, a massive jet soaring through a glowing sunrise, leaving a shimmering trail over the awakening city. Above the clouds, the world grew quieter. The plane cruised steadily at 35,000 feet, gliding through layers of soft white mist illuminated by moonlight and the first hints of daybreak. Inside, the cabin was serene. Passengers drifted into sleep, watched movies, scrolled through phones, never imagining they were part of a flight soon to vanish from existence. Meanwhile, on the ground, radar operators monitored the aircraft's path across the South China Sea. On their glowing screens, MH370 appeared as a bright moving blip until suddenly it didn't. The moment was subtle, almost too subtle. 1 second the plane was on course, the next it simply blinked away. No alarm, no distress call, just silence. Back inside the cabin, subtle shifts began. The lights dimmed slightly, casting an eerie glow across the rows of seats. Some passengers looked up, sensing something different, something off. In the cockpit, the illuminated buttons and displays flickered with quiet intensity as the aircraft began to veer off its planned path, turning away from the open sky and into the shadows of the unknown. Above the vast, dark ocean below, MH370 flew into quiet isolation, moonlight reflecting faintly off the endless waves as the massive plane disappeared deeper into the night. No one watching from the ground could see it. No radar could trace it. It was as if the sky had swallowed it whole. This was the beginning, the calm before a mystery that would span years, ignite global searches, and spark countless theories. A flight that started in peace, lifted by a golden sunrise, was now slipping toward an unimaginable fate. And as the world slept, Flight 370 flew on into the dawn and into history's deepest shadows. Moment Flight 370 vanished from civilian radar. Confusion rippled through the darkened control rooms of Southeast Asia. Radar operators stared at their screens that just moments before showed the steady, reassuring pulse of MH370. And now, nothing. Just an empty space where a Boeing 777 should have been, swallowed without a trace. In the eerie green glow of the monitors, silence grew heavy, and uncertainty ignited the first sparks of fear. While the world slept beneath a moonlit sky, Flight 370 was making a turn no one could explain. Satellite imagery later revealed a sudden, dramatic shift, a westward curve over the South China Sea, as if the plane had chosen a path of its own. From above, the sky looked calm, filled with stars and illuminated by a pale moon. But inside that cockpit, behind the sealed door, something had changed. Something no radar operator could see, but every member of the search team would soon chase. Military installations detected a strange echo on their radar, a silent intruder crossing the Strait of Malacca. It moved with the speed and height of a commercial jet, but without identification, without communication, and without reason. In a dim military control room, uniformed officers leaned forward, analyzing the ghost-like trace creeping across the digital map. That unidentified aircraft was heading into a zone where no plane was expected that night. And though they didn't yet know it, they were watching Flight 370's final confirmed movements. Far below the silent jet, the ocean stretched endlessly, a vast black canvas broken only by faint moonlit lines on the waves. It was a haunting sight, the kind of darkness that hides everything and reveals nothing, a place where secrets fall and stay lost. As hours passed and daylight crept over the horizon, the world realized something was terribly wrong. Families waited, phones rang unanswered, and airports scrambled for updates that never came. Suddenly, search teams were deployed. Ships and aircraft soared over the South China Sea, cutting through morning fog as they scanned the restless waters. Pilots peered down at the shimmering ocean surface, hoping to catch even one piece of debris, one clue that could break the silence. On those ships, crews lowered rescue equipment, their eyes sharp and their hopes tense. Helicopters hovered above choppy waves, blades slicing through the wind as they searched tirelessly. But the ocean offered nothing. No floating seat cushions, no fragments of metal, no oil slicks. Only the endless, shifting water and the possibility that whatever happened to MH370 had happened far from where anyone first believed. Far beneath them, the deep ocean waited, an abyss of cold blue stretching into darkness. Submersible drones descended slowly, their lights cutting through the black water as they searched the haunting seafloor. Sonar scans revealed strange shapes and shadows, each one a potential lead that evaporated upon closer inspection. The ocean was hiding something, but it wasn't ready to let it go. Back on land, investigators studied satellite data with furious intensity. In rooms glowing with digital maps and holographic projections, experts traced the mysterious seventh arc, a curved search zone stretching across the Indian Ocean. A place remote, a place desolate, a place capable of swallowing a giant aircraft whole. Flight 370 had slipped beyond the edge of the known world. And as the sun set on another day with no answers, the sky held its silence and the ocean guarded its secrets. The Indian Ocean, vast, merciless, and largely unexplored, became the center of the world's most complex search operation. As days turned to weeks and weeks into months, a fleet of ships, aircraft, drones, satellites, and submersibles converged on one of the most remote stretches of water on the planet. This was the seventh arc, the final digital whisper of Flight 370's existence. And the place where investigators believed the truth waited, buried beneath miles of dark, crushing water. The search ships moved through violent storms, their decks battered by towering waves that looked like shadowy mountains rising from the deep. Lightning flashed across blackened skies, illuminating the restless ocean in harsh, fleeting glimpses. Crew members clung to railings as cold winds whipped across the deck, their faces hardened by exhaustion yet fueled by determination. Every day was a battle against nature itself, and nature was not eager to give up its secrets. From the skis, reconnaissance planes swept over the ocean's surface, their sensors scanning for any sign of wreckage. Pilots looked down into the endless blue, watching the way the light played on the waves, hopping for a glimmer of metal or foam. But the Indian Ocean was a master of deception. Its shifting waves could hide anything, even something as large as a Boeing 777. Below the surface, robotic submersibles descended into the abyss, their bright beams piercing the darkness. As they crawled across the ocean floor, their cameras revealed haunting images, jagged ridges, deep trenches, and unsettling formations that looked almost like wreckage until the angle changed and the illusion dissolved. Each discovery brought hope, then disappointment. The ocean floor was a graveyard of shadows, and every shadow held a story that wasn't the one they were searching for. Sonar scans painted ghostly outlines across screens in the command ships. Shapes appeared mysterious, metallic, promising, but when investigators sent drones to investigate, they found only rocks, coral, or deep-sea debris that resembled aircraft parts under distorted sonar echoes. The deeper the search went, the more the ocean seemed to taunt those who dared to explore it. Still, the world refused to give up. In control rooms filled with holographic maps and glowing data streams, analysts rechecked their calculations again and again. They followed every signal, every possible path, every fragment of information. They reconsidered fuel burn patterns, satellite timing, and atmospheric conditions. Every possibility was tested, every theory was challenged, and still nothing. In time, a few fragments of suspected aircraft debris washed ashore on distant coastlines. A wing piece here, a panel there, clues but no answers, evidence but no closure. They hinted at a tragedy yet revealed nothing about how or why it happened. For every question they answered, a new one emerged from the shadows. Families gathered at memorials, lighting candles beneath photographs of loved ones. The soft glow reflected in their eyes as they stood together, united by grief, hope, and unanswered prayers. In those quiet moments, the world felt the weight of the mystery, a reminder that some truths, no matter how desperately sought, remain beyond our grasp. As the sun set over the silent ocean once more, the search ships drifted against the fading horizon. The deep waited below, holding its silence, refusing to speak. And the world understood that some stories do not end with answers, they end with echoes. And so, the mystery of Flight 370 remains, not gone, not forgotten, but forever lost somewhere between the sky above and the ocean below.